Hi guys, welcome back. It's Tony here from Innon, and today we're going to be looking at setting up the app that exists on the, well, in this case it's the LinkTouch SM from my previous video, but the same techniques will apply across our various Android-based touchscreens. So yeah, let's look at how I've set this up. So we'll start out with what you get from the factory. This is just booted up. We should get this screen. It's waiting for us to add a panel, and a panel is just a Niagara installation that we can connect to that has a web server and a graphic and that sort of thing. So we need to have a user set up that has navigation and a home page so that when it logs in, it always goes to the same place. So I'm just going to add in a LinkTouch user. I'm going to use the admin role because I'm bad and I haven't set up a role. But obviously this display is going to have access to your station, so you need to make sure that they have a role that is appropriate for this setup. He's going to need a navigation file because I want him to go somewhere when he actually reaches the station. So now on the display, I'm going to click Add New. It's going to tell me that edit mode needs to be enabled to add a new panel. That's up here. Default password is link 1, 2, 3, 4. Edit mode enabled. Add new. It's going to want a name for this panel, so I'm just going to call this default. Panel URL is going to be the IP address of my station. So 192.168.1.170. Going to go for HTTPS. That should be fine. Don't want a manual login. I'm going to go for Niagara 4 login. And username is LinkTouch. This is case sensitive, so make sure that you have the same capitals. You probably should know that from Niagara anyway. Panel password is super secret one. Make this the default view because why not? And click Add Panel. And then View. SSL error proceeding because we're using a secure connection and it doesn't know how to trust that. It's going to bring up the login page. Might have to wait a few seconds for it to log in, but eventually it will do the automatic login. It's going to load the page, and there we go. So simple air handler graphic. With the current settings, I've got the sidebar here, so I can navigate around my system. I've got the search and the palette buttons. We probably don't want that when the end user is making use of this. So let's go back to Niagara. LinkTouch user, so the same user that I just set up, and I'm going to change his. So let's set up the mobile web profile. Here we can change various things. So we can disable the ability to change the workbench views. We can switch off the navtree sidebar. Research palette, tree, config tree, files tree, history tree. Hierarchies, we're going to still give them access to, allow them to change views, so you can switch off whether or not they are allowed to change views. And click OK. Back to the screen, see if we can do a log off. Should log back in. There we go. And he's got the air handler. If we click to open the sidebar, we can see the navigation, but we have an empty navigation at the moment. But at this stage, we can sort of use this as we would any other Niagara setup. So I can override values. I can hold my finger on widgets that they've got bindings to real points, so hold down my finger, get the actions, so on. So basically you can drive it the same as you would Android connecting to Niagara anyway. Now we do have these bars at the top, and I'm not crazy about those. I also like the fact that my navigation is empty, so I'm going to try and reduce the amount of Chrome, so get rid of the stuff around the outside. Now to do this, go back into the user. Actually didn't like these things being on there. So we can change the type spec. So HTML5 HX profile, it comes with some of these things built in. Oh, I had an empty nav file because I hadn't set up the web nav file. Okay. Something you may not realize if you've never set up like a display or Niagara for a screen or a mobile device is that there is a profile that fixes the Chrome issue. Chrome as in the stuff around the outside. And that view is the handheld HX profile. We click OK on that. Log our fellow out and get him to log back in. And there we go. So we still have some of these items that are new with Niagara 15. So if you're allowed to edit the PX files, you can press the edit button. But you can just take the permissions to do that away from this user in order to remove that. Okay, so other things you can do. Let's go swipe up so that we can go back on this screen. Up here in the top corner, you can go to Settings. Link 1, 2, 3, 4 again. There we go. So here we've got like sort of the brightness settings. We can have volume if you want to be annoyed when there's alarms going off. You can launch the LoRaWAN toolbox and so on down here. System settings, so if you need to change something in Android, like the IP address or anything like that, that's down here in the settings. And yeah, so that's the LinkTouch. That's all I really have to show you about this. It's reasonably straightforward. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you shortly.